Hey James, what's up? We've got a microphone going. This is weird, but it's happening. Hey Dan, what's up? Yeah, after this stream, I guess we're all hopping over to the old blood stream, so I guess this is a day for stream jumping. Like a stream or a battle royale. Oh, we got Andy here too. Whoa. We got the whole gang. So the point of this stream is mainly just so I can talk through the board and answer a lot of questions that I have to answer from people, because a lot of people want to know what I'm really doing and what's going on. And yeah, I suppose I should probably tell people. Drinking wine today. It's a fancy day. Can you guys hear me out there okay? I assume you can, but I don't want to jinx it and hope to God that, you know. I should move this chat box over just a tad. Andy, this is the Panasonic Lumix GX80. It's a little mirrorless micro four thirds camera, and it is dope. It's stupid cheap for resale value. Like on eBay and stuff, you can pick these up for about $300, and they're insane. Okay, I'll turn these down briefly. Yeah, Chris, I had to move the wine out of the way because I was getting complaints about how sketchily close it was to everything. Okay, so I guess the point of this stream mainly is to walk through the board. I was gonna do a dedicated video to that, but honestly, I think I spent about 5 hours filming, talking over it, deleting, restarting, and like hating the sound of my own voice talking it. So I figure if I just do it live, I won't have to listen to it again, and it'll be posted forever. So that's kind of my thought process behind this. I realized I was getting a lot of questions on stream about different things, from like, oh, why are you running Mood into Fabrica when they're both granular pedals and you can basically do the same thing? Or why are you using 2 signal blenders? Do you hate people? Or why do you have 2 H9s? Or why have you got a mixing console of expression sliders? why are you so sad? Questions like this. So I'm going to try answer them, and yeah, we'll just leave the music in the background making us all sad and stuff. So I guess the main thing that I'll go over first will be the signal chain. I suppose I'll switch to the wide angle super quick. Oh yeah, James got the right idea. If you use the pedalboard command, you can actually look at the modular grid, my modular grid edit that I've got up of the board. So yeah, basically signal chain is as follows. We go guitar into the Keeley compressor plus over here. You can't really see it on this camera, but we'll just go with it. So we're going guitar into the Keeley compressor plus, from the Keeley compressor into the Electro Harmonix pitchfork. Then we're going from the pitchfork into the Chase Bliss and Zvex Bliss Factory. And then from the Bliss Factory, we're going into the Preamp Mark II by Chase Bliss. From Chase Bliss Preamp, we're going into a little Korg Pitch Black Mini down here. And then we're going from the Pitch Black Mini into the Earthquaker Devices Avalanche Run. From the Avalanche Run, we're going to the WMD Geiger Counter Pro. Then from the Geiger Counter Pro, we're going into the Old Blood Dark Star. From the Dark Star, we're going into the Game Changer and Third Man Plasma Coil. From the Plasma Coil, we're going into the Chase Bliss Therme. From the Therme, we're going into the Cooper Effects Gen Loss. From the Gen Loss, we're going into the Signal Blender. And I know most of the people in the chat now know about parallel mixing and signal paths and stuff, but I guess I'll switch to the close-up camera so you can, if anybody doesn't know, basically my signal comes in, green channel, and it gets sent to two places. On the blue knob, channel 1, we've got the Chase Bliss Mood and the Pladask Fabricat. We've got then on the second channel, Blooper by itself, because Blooper has enough settings and effects built in that you don't really need it with anything. Then we're going to go mono out of the Signal Blender into the Keeley Echoes, and we're going stereo out of the Keeley Echoes into channels 1 and 2 of the Matrice by Pladask. So I'm using the Matrice as a stereo effects mixer. So the Echoes changes my Signal Blender signal from mono to stereo, and that's going in on inputs 1 and 2. So I'll kind of do the overhead shot again for this part. So we're going out then from outputs 3 and 4 in stereo to the Hologram Microcosm and the Meris Autobit Junior, and they're coming back in on inputs 3 and 4 here. Then my master output from the Matrice is left and right. So it's on outputs 1 and 2, and that's going out into the Empress Zoya. Zoya's, from this point, I guess from the Matrice, the whole path is stereo. So we're going Zoya into the first H9, into the second H9, and then we're going into the Cab Zeus in stereo, which is going straight into my interface. So I mean, it's ampless, like every great pedalboard is. It's an ampless setup. The Cab Zeus is a good cab simulator. If I have known before buying that it wasn't going to do, I mean, amp sim as well as stuff like the Iridium or the new ACS1 by Walrus, I would have just not bought it. Plus it's a bit of a pain in the ass that it's XLR out, but jack, like 1/4 inch jack in, that's a bit of a pain in the ass. But with the Cab Zeus and the preamp, the board sounds better than it would if I ran it into my amp. So that's that part done. So yeah, I guess now at this point I'll kind of talk through certain questions that I get a lot, and I'll revert to Instagram. And I'll be answering questions throughout the chat as well. If anybody has any, you can just fire one away. So the first one, probably the most common one that I get, is why do you have the mood going into the Fabricat when they're both granular synthesis pedals? Because is that not defeating the purpose? So I'll kind of just show you what I'm doing in a loop here. So I'll turn Fabricat off, turn blooper down, turn mood up. So I'm using mood in tape mode right now, which has caught something very. It's just, I think I've played 5 notes or something. So what I like running is the tape mode on the Drolo side of mood into the reverb side on the Old Blood side. I like running into the reverb algorithm on the Old Blood side, and the reverb I think is 6 delays, and you can smear them to make it a reverb, or you can leave them completely unsmeared and it'll sound like you can hear all the delays individually. So I like leaving them completely unsmeared because it gives you this really cool sound. So this is what it sounds like when I've got the delay going on. Just adds a bit of depth by itself. And then I'll add the Fabricat in. So there's an algorithm on Fabricat that's basically, it's going to take really small grains of my micro loop in mood. It's going to pitch them up an octave and play it back reversed. And that's going to add a whole other dimension to it. So you'll hear that when I bring it in now. So you can hear the difference that the Fabricat adds to the loop. So, I mean, without Fabricat. With Fabricat. So that's basically, I mean, that's why I've got 2 granular pedals, because I'm basically making grains of my original signal and then making grains of grains. So we're making grains for days, baby. So that's why I've got those 2 together. I guess the next question I'd be getting is, should I explain the expression sliders now? No, I'll leave them for last. So the next question I get would be when it comes to the 2 H9s. So the thing about the H9, I mean, I know they're being discontinued now, but if you have one H9 max and then you buy like any of the cheaper H9s, you can max them out for free. So it's really handy having the first H9 running delay and modulation algorithms. Yeah, Chris, Fabricat is pitching the granules that it's taking up an octave and playing them reversed. So if I just make the Fabricat 100% white, you'll hear them. Then I'll bring it into about 40% on the mix, and you can hear the original mood signal coming through. So yeah, on the first H9 I've got delay and modulation algorithms going, and on the second I have reverb and pitch algorithms. Now this is how I primarily run it when I'm live streaming and when I'm like riding or jamming or whatever, but both of them share the same algorithm, so I think I've got about 60 on each of them, which I can chop and change if I want to, but primarily I'll run a ping pong delay just to accentuate the stereo spread on the first H9, and a really wide reverb on the second one, again to just really give the entire mix's stereo spread as much as possible. And then having the Zoya before it, I'm normally running the Deep Water patch, which is basically just a stereo emulation of the Fairfield Circuitry Shallow Water patch. I don't know how well the camera will pick this up, but basically, see if I can switch to the other one and it'll pick it up. Okay, you can't really see, but basically you can change all the same parameters that you would if you had the regular shallow water. So let's change some of these now. So you can kind of hear the random wow and flutter. I mean, I love tape emulation. If the shallow water was stereo, I'd run it here, but Zoya has the deep water patch, and that's what I mainly run. So that's normally third. That's like basically my main modulation that I run before. Again, first H9 runs delay and modulation. If I'm ever running modulation, H9-1 is running ping pong. H9-2 is running reverb. So that's the two H9s in general. I'll get back to them a bit later. So I guess now the main thing I'll cover will be the Old Blood Noise mixing console that I've got in front of me here. So basically I've got 6 of these, and each of them is running to a different pedal. They're sending expression. If you don't know what they are, they send expression values, tiny pedals that have expression pedal input. So they all range from 0 to 127. So I'll just bring in Blooper again to add something else. So this first expression slider here is running into mood, and it is controlling the modify knob on mood. And so as I move that up and down, it'll adjust the pitch, or if I'm using stretch mode on the Drolo side, it'll basically change how time stretched the loop is. Then this second slider I'm running into the blooper, and it is mapped to control both modifier A and modifier B. I never modify it at the same time using like one expression slider, because then everything would be all synced up, and I'd rather have random modulation going on between them both. So that's why I've got this set up for both of the modulation, or the modifier knob, should I say, sorry. The third slider here is going to the Chase Bliss Theorem, and it is controlling the low pass filter on the pedal. The Theorem is like probably the best analog delay out there, and the low pass filter and the regen knob are really closely correlated together in regards to if your low pass filter is closed a lot further, then the regen has to be a lot lower, because if you've got your filter really, let's say you set your filter to 12 o'clock, your regen will threaten to self-oscillate very, very quickly. So I like having the regen set to 12 permanently, and then being able to control the low pass filter. So if I'm done playing something over, if I'm playing a riff over a loop and blooper, I can control the low pass filter, so I can, if I just want it to end and kind of decay slowly, I can close that low pass filter more and more, and then the delay will just get very close to self-oscillation, but I can control it with the low pass filter. So that's what I really like it doing. This fourth slider I've got going to the Old Blood Dark Star over here. I've got that controlling the pre-delay on the delay patch, on the delay mode. I'll show you why in a sec, why I've got it controlling the pre-delay. I mean, mainly it's primarily being used so I can have maximum pre-delay before the reverb comes in to create swells, but I can also use it as almost like a manual wow and flutter device for the reverb. So I'll show you that in a sec. This 5th slider here is going to the preamp. So this is probably the handiest thing that I've got going on, because with one on expression mode on the preamp, you can set which faders are allocated to being controlled by one slider. So I could allocate all 6 faders to be controlled by one slider, and it means that I don't have to use like 2 hands to change if I'm going, or if, let's say I've got a patch going, like this patch here, which is basically my main clean tone. I won't have to change. Let's say I want the gain ramped up a bit. I also have to attenuate the volume to account for the gain. And then let's say I want to drop the low end or change the mid frequency. These are all things that I can change with one fader. So hold on, let me see if I can. So I don't know which camera angle, I don't know if you'll really see this well, but kind of show you. So now we're in expression mode here. So I'll just set that all these faders are on. I'll set the heel position, so we'll just go, let's say we'll just go to about here. And then I'll set my toe position to be, I don't know, let's say it's here, so. Okay. So now we've got our expression mode mapped. So you'll see, as I move this fader here, all 6 faders are going. So that's really handy, especially if I'm moving on the fly and I don't want to tap through presets, because let's say one of my presets is super high gain, or I want to just increase the gain slightly, but to get to that preset I have to go through like a gated fuzz or whatever. That's super handy, so that's what I use the 5th one for. So that's on the preamp. And then the final expression slider here, this black one, is going to the Empress Zoya. So I haven't got the patch set up on Zoya right now because it's still working on it, but basically Zoya has MIDI outs, and it has a MIDI out port and it has a CV in port. So there's a CV looper module on the Zoya, so I can basically hit record, move this fader however I want, and it'll record my movements like a looper pedal would, but for CV. And I plan on basically sending different CV messages that I've recorded in with the CV looper to different pedals via the Disaster Area MIDI box 4, which is under my board here, which is connected to the Mood, the Blooper, the Theramay, the Bliss Factory, and all my other pedals that have MIDI capabilities. So everything's connected via MIDI, so once I've got the Zoya patch set up, I'll be able to record in CV loops and send them almost like random LFOs, or what you see a lot of people using Ribbon, the iPad app, for. I can just do it here physically, like record this, like you'd move a slider on Ribbon, and then I'll be able to send those MIDI CCs out to different pedals. So that's the overview of these 6 faders here. I guess the last question, two questions that I also get a lot, are kind of my reasoning for the setup of the board in general. So I've got all my stereo pedals up on the top of the board here. Hey Gummy, what's up? So I've got all the stereo pedals set up here on the top of the board, not for any like signal reasons, but mainly so I can use them as effect sends for my other equipment, such as my Dig Attack or my Mini Log or the Deluge, whatever. Each effect here can basically be used as a piece of outboard gear because they're all stereo. They've all got top mounted jacks, which means I can send from my interface into these. As far as I know, they all accept blind level, and you can change them in settings like with a bit of menu diving, but it's really handy, especially the hologram microcosm sounds so good with synths. And because, as I said earlier, everything's MIDI synced, if I'm recording something and I want to set my master tempo to be linked with my key step, which is going to be sequencing my mini log, and I'm sending my mini log through the microcosm, all I have to do is press play on the key step and everything here is going to receive mini clock, so it's all going to be synced. So I don't have to worry about like tap tempoing out on the microcosm and tapping out a tempo on the auto bit, it'll all just happen. So that's why I've got all the stereo pedals on top. Really, really handy, especially if you don't want to invest in like a stupid amount of, I guess, hardware rack mounted stuff, or just VSTs. I mean, if you've got the effects pedals at your disposal, you may as well use them for processing loads of stuff through. So that's the stereo section here. And then I guess the final question that I really get a lot of is, why do I have so many gain pedals going on a board? I mean, a lot of people are in tune with this channel, I guess, if you will. Yeah, Line Vault's The Automaton is insane. It's so good. Yeah, a lot of people who are kind of tuned into this channel would be here for ambient music, but that's not just what I do. Hey Henry, what's up? So I like writing a lot of different styles of music, everything from punk to noise rock to ambient to bedroom pop, whatever. So I'm gonna kind of play through different setups here with the drive pedals. So I guess at this point, if you don't like high gain sounds or fuzz or whatever, and I guess you can turn it off, but I'm just going to explain briefly why I've got like time-based effects before and after high gain stuff. So yeah, I'll just mute the 2 parallel loops here. Okay, so first I'll go through, I mean, the preamp kind of spits out my main tone. It goes from everything from the clean to kind of high gain clean boost to my ridiculously over the top fuzz sounds. So I kind of just play through my main 3 presets that I use for myself. I've made these just for my Jazzmaster, but obviously I've got a bunch of different ones for different guitars that I might use if I'm using a hollow body or whatever. So yeah, fuzz, 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 fuzz. I'll explain that real quick. So first, my clean tone. I'm going to turn off Zoya and my ping pong. I might just turn down my master reverb as well. So as I say, this is just the preamp by itself. Obviously I've got my Keeley compressor on, and then my clean boost setting. So that sounds like, I mean, it's just the preamp replaced like 4 pedals on my board when I got it because of how good it sounds. It replaced my Electro Harmonics overdrive. It replaced one of my fuzz pedals, my distortion pedals, EQ, everything. I mean, it just sounds so good. So yeah, that's the clean boost. Then I guess we'll go to the fuzz. So yeah, that's one. That's my main kind of go to for changing gain stages, but I've also got a lot of different ones. Gummy, the outputs of the matrice are basically, I go mono from my signal blender into the echoes, then I go stereo out of the echoes into inputs 1 and 2 of the matrice. Outputs 3 and 4 of the matrice are sent to the microcosm and autobit, which are coming back in on the inputs 3 and 4. And my master outputs 1 and 2 are going to the Zoya and the 2 H9s. So it's a stereo effects mixer. Hey Alfredo, yeah, the fuzz is ridiculous. So that's the preamp fuzz. Next up is the Bliss Factory. If you've got a fuzz factory, you know what it's like. You know the transients that it picks up. You should probably be first in your chain. I have my compressor, my pitchfork ahead of it because I really like doing like octave down fuzz stuff. I never have the compressor on when I'm running into the Bliss Factory, and I have a patch set up on the preamp because the fuzz sound that the Bliss Factory produces is really unique, and I don't want to color that sound any different with the preamp, so I've just set it up so that they've got basically got the same transients. So that's the patch without the Bliss Factory, and then with the Bliss Factory. Factory settings are so sensitive to your guitar's volume knob. I mean, that's my volume all the way up, but if I turn my volume all the way down and then bring it into maybe 1, it'll kind of give you a bit of a more clear and easy to understand fuzz. So yeah, Bliss Factory. I mean, obviously this thing can get ridiculous really quickly. And kind of turn up the stab, the drive. I'll go down an octave. Factory. It's insane. It's basically a fuzz face on acid. So I've got the Bliss Factory, that's third in chain. Then I've got my avalanche run going before the Geiger counter from WMD, because the reverse delay algorithm on the avalanche run is insane. And it's like the best reverse delay algorithm I've ever heard. Like, you'll hear it now. I'll just slow it down a bit. And if I run that before the Geiger counter, before reverb, or delay before fuzz, should I say. Always sounds insane. So that's why I've got the Avalanche run early in chain, mainly because that reverse algorithm. Then I've got the Dark Star before the Plasma Coil. So the Plasma Coil, I initially thought was going to be a serious gimmick, and I thought it was kind of just, you know, one of these things. Oh, it turns your signal into plasma and puts it through a xenon tube, and it was using all these like buzzwords. But the Plasma Coil is the real deal. This fuzz is insane, and I've got it after my Dark Star because I really like shoegaze, and running the Dark Star pad reverb into the Plasma Coil will get you that wall of sound. I'll play the Plasma by itself first. Really gated as well. I'm not turning anything on or off. It's just got a really nice noise gate in it. I wish I had a camera that was closer up so you could see the actual plasma going in, but anyway, for now you can't. But I'll put the Dark Star before it, and now so. We'll turn it on. There's that classic My Bloody Valentine wall of sound. Starts to break up as the reverb begins to fade out. So yeah, definitely not for the faint-hearted, but those two together sound insane. So yeah, I got a lot of stuff. I mean, I guess let me change camera angles really quick. So I apologize if you guys can hear that sample reduction or whatever is going on there. I don't know what the issue is, but I mean, Gen Loss is basically doing exactly what you'd expect it to be doing. That's Gen Loss. Therme, as I said earlier, my favorite analog delay, but with the pitch shifting on, I mean, you can make an entire song. If you're ever stuck for ideas, you can just set the intervals to random pitches. So it'll basically just crank out a song for you. So I'll just do something now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture a pad in the Dark Star. And then you're going to hear as it runs through the theremin with different intervals set on the pitch shifting mode. So now we've got a loop captured on the Dark Star, and I guess now would be a good time to explain what I was talking about with the expression slider going to the pre-delay time. So I can move this up and down, and you're going to hear how the pre-delay works with an expression slider when it's caught. It'll always return to the pitch it's there. So that was me moving from max pre-delay to minimum pre-delay, and if I do it the other way, and so I was saying earlier about the manual wow and flutter. That'll give you that tape sound. But anyway, that's just what the expression slider is doing. So now I'll turn on theremin with two random intervals set up, and you're going to hear that come in now. That's one chord, and theremin is just giving me a chord progression. Yeah, Gummy, that's it. Using a pad is really cool, especially for capturing stuff. So, also I said I had one of the expression sliders is mapped to the low pass filter on the theremin, so I'll show you. This is the filter fully open. As I turn it down, you'll hear how the repeats get a bit more low endy. And there's that close self oscillation. So yeah, that's what I'm using the expression slider for here. But anyway, yeah, theremin and Dark Star pad. So they're the main two. I guess while I'm here explaining the expression sliders and what they're doing, I'll just bring you back to the original thing that we had going on in Mood. So, as I said earlier, this expression slider here is controlling the modify knob on the Drolo side of Mood, which is a micro looper if you don't know. So, I'm using it on tape mode, so when I move this up or down, it's going to change the pitch of the tape. So you hear now. Turn the length knob down on the Drolo side so it's not giving you that tremolo. So that's the original loop here. And then I'll show you what it sounds like when we've got the reverb algorithm going with the delays not smeared. we've got Fabricat in doing the octave up. And as you manipulate that pitch of the Drolo side, you can really hear everything changing. So sometimes if I'm just looking to add a bit of movement into a loop, I'll just move this ever so slightly. So that's really nice. Obviously there's different modes on the mood. I could be running in stretch mode and I'll control how time stretched out the loop is or whatever. But that's how I primarily use it there. And then I guess I'll bring back Blooper here. So this expression slider here is mapped to control the two modifiers, modifier A and modifier B on Blooper. I don't, as I said earlier, I don't use both modifiers at once because I like to add different randomization in. So you hear as I bring it up, here's our Blooper loop. So I guess we'll start off with the filter modifier. Turn that on. Modifiers should be set to, kind of the filter should be set to unity now. What you hear now. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll hit record. I'll just manually open and close the filter. Hear that now? Or for example, we can use the new time stretch modifier. So this is again set to unity. So I can stretch it out full way. And then of course you can bring it a bit shorter. And then we can bring it up all the way so it actually speeds it up without affecting the pitch to the point where it gives you that ring mod sound. I mean, that just sounds crazy, but so that's what this slider here is doing. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much everything else. Now, Gummy, the Fabricat only affects the mood because these two are in a loop on Signal Blender together. So I'll just go through the final few. I'll just answer a couple questions that I got on Instagram. So the first one is from Evan, who said, "What inspired you to create ambient over other genres?" Honestly, it was to do with the fact that I've been playing rock music for so long, and I was playing, I guess, left to field genres that were pretty intense. And don't get me wrong, I love doing that, but when that stopped, I guess, honestly, the inclination for me to just go as far away from that as possible initially to discover something new was really high. So that's why I got into ambient music, kind of just fell into it. Obviously I was watching the usual suspects like Andy Ostling and the Pedal Zone and everybody else, and I'd been watching these people for a while, like Knobs and everybody, but I never really tried it myself, and then really just fell into a hole full of that. So yeah. Next one is from David. How do you use your Empress Zoya? So the Zoya runs everything from like pedal modulation patches. So like here's a pedal patch of the Shallow Water. So you can hear the wound flutter. And then it can also do like multi-delay patches, or it can do like here's a glitch delay patch. See, Zoya can kind of do whatever you want it to, and the community around Zoya is so active on patch storage that you can kind of find whatever you want. And if you're ever looking for advice or whatever, I mean, for making patches or anything else, they'll help you out. So that's what I'm using Zoya for. I mean, I can use it for anything, but primarily I use it for the little micro looper patches, such as a Legany here. This basically processes it and does multiple different loopers that are panned left and right. Which is kind of a pretty crazy swell. That's a Legany. So yeah, that's Zoya. I could do a whole video on that if I wanted to, of how I use that. Is the Keeley compressor plus noisy? No, it's not, but the guitar I'm using, the J Mascis Jazzmaster, has super noisy pickups, so wouldn't recommend using that with a compressor at all, because I mean, I'm waiting on new pickups for this guitar, but yeah, they're super high gain, super noisy, and with the compressor that kind of just accentuates that. So yeah, then I guess I'll just answer one more because we're after 9 here and I don't want to intrude on the old bloodstream. What's your favorite pedal to use? I guess it'd be Microcosm. Right now it's Microcosm because just that thing is just a different thing altogether. So I mean, right now it's running in. I'll just capture something with it really quick. I mean, that's just converted that loop into one little sample. You can turn the activity up so you get more going on. Being able to add reverb in the pedal or filter out whatever you want is super fun. Microcosm is one of my favorite pedals right now. It's just kind of like a Swiss Army knife for micro looping. And then running it into the auto bit with random stutter. It's just super fun to use. You can get lost in Microcosm for days at a time. It's insane. So, yeah. I guess that's where we'll kind of end it here. that's been my pedalboard overview as of March 2021. Thanks everybody for showing up. This was super fun. Definitely easier than filming a whole dedicated video. If you want to look back over this, you can. It'll probably be up. I think it'll probably upload tomorrow morning. And if you have any other questions, you can just leave it as a comment on this video when it goes public, or you can message me on Instagram or do whatever you need to. But yeah, I'm gonna go head over to the old Blood Noise stream now because I want to see what's going on there. They've got Philippe from Caroline Guitar Company there, and it's gonna be sweet. So yeah, go head over there. Thanks Mil for hanging out. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're nearly at 1,000. I don't know what I'm gonna do to 1,000 because it's such a minimum milestone, but yeah, I'll give away myself. See you later. See you all over at the old Blood Noise stream.